you.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for introducing me. Appreciate it. I am Product Director of Customer Engagement at Cloudcraze, and we are an e-commerce solution, enterprise e-commerce solution. So we're looking for, most of our clients are fairly large, and basically we help them to sell online. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it, most basic way. But we're a little bit different because we are on the Salesforce platform, and we'll get into that a little bit more today. But basically, we take advantage of this massive cloud computing technology as our platform to take advantage of all the benefits that Salesforce offers, as well as all the other features that Salesforce offers. So, in a nutshell, our differentiation is trying to get customers up a lot faster and for a lot less. And we're talking about large clients, usually B2B. So that's in a nutshell what we do at Cloudcraze, is help other businesses sell online.
Yes, just to remind our viewers, we are speaking with Phil Weinmeister of Cloudcraze. He is part of the product development team there, and also he has a book which I'm very excited about. I'm really very excited about how to learn how to do all this without coding, which that's pretty much the angle. That's the story of my life, is whatever I can do without that extra coding and extra learning a whole new language. So very excited. And just a little bit of background about Phil. He's certified in Salesforce.com, certifiedforce.com developer, and really has a lot of insight to bring to this conversation. And just to get started, being a small business owner, but really understanding the value of being more agile and having processes for my business, but I really haven't approached automated processes. Can you really go into, for the people who are just now getting started with a conversation like this, the benefits of it? What does it look like? Maybe some examples of some key areas in our businesses where we can automate.
Yeah, sure. And so I'll step back a little bit into where I came from. Most recently in my career, I was working for a company called EDL Consulting, and that's originally Cloudcraze was part of EDL Consulting. Now Cloudcraze has received some funding, and so it is a separate company, Cloudcraze Software LLC. But when I was working with EDL Consulting, I was a consultant, a business analyst specifically. So I worked with a lot of different organizations implementing Salesforce, and really the main goal for any organization was to optimize their processes and to automate their processes. So we worked with a lot of different organizations. I worked with one large company that sold knives and hunting gear. I've worked with media companies, a lot of different organizations. One music store actually, and we come in and we want to understand the business, understand where they're going. And within Salesforce, there's a lot of opportunities to automate. So, you mentioned my book. That in the book, I talk a lot about really the whole focus of the book is how do you take Salesforce and automate. It is basically the main gist without code, and that's an awesome thing. Salesforce is a unique platform because in a lot of platforms, to really do a lot and to really bring automation to a company, ultimately you need code. Salesforce is unique. Yes, there are a lot of developers in the traditional sense, coding and things like that, but you can actually do a lot through configuration. So in terms of what we would automate, there's different areas of the business. Within Salesforce, it started off as a CRM, that's customer relationship management system. And that's pretty straightforward. You have your accounts and contacts, you capture leads and look at opportunities, all that good stuff. And it's really exploded from there. So there's a lot of different parts of Salesforce now. So we would come in, sometimes we would look at a sales process. So we'd talk to the organization about how their sales department or organization is set up and what they were trying to achieve, talk to them about the different activities that they perform, and try to build those in to automate those. So for example, if an individual would capture a particular type of opportunity, if there were certain attributes with it, that would kick off some other process. So, instead of having a person come in, a second person read a report and manually update all the records in that report, they would be updated automatically. So to save that second person time so they can do something else with their job. So that's one example, and that applies to like customer support and other areas like that as well.
What are some pain points that you see out there in the market? What are some key areas that people and organizations are really struggling with automating? But if they did so, it would improve their businesses,
Yeah, I think a lot of it is prioritization. A lot of companies, and probably everybody on here can relate to this. You have so much money and so much time, and a lot of times employees recognize where efficiencies can be brought into an organization, but it's a matter of saying, yeah, let's put aside the time and money for that. Let's invest in that, and let's make sure that we prepare for the future. If you're just handling what's coming in today and reacting as a business, it's really hard to be prepared for 2-3 years down the road. So, technology is part of that. Technology itself is never going to be the solution, but you want to make sure that whatever platform, whatever technology you're using is scalable. So, over the next few years, if you grow, your application can handle that. And then also that you invest properly to make sure that, you're not spending, your employees aren't spending all their time just doing repetitive tasks and things like that. So I would say that's a lot of it is just prioritization and readiness, making sure that you guys are ready to, have your business prepared for automation.
Right. When you say technology will never be the solution, are you saying that because it's always changing?
Well, what I'm saying is, it's a combination of people, process, and technology, and you've probably heard that before. But, if you look to technology as the solution by itself, most likely that will not help you in the long run. You need to understand, most importantly, understand where you're going and understand your business and find the right technology for that. And then obviously you need to make sure that you use the technology in the right way. So, technology is key. And I'm in the technology business. Technology is key for our business. But for example, we use the Salesforce platform. That in and of itself doesn't make our company. It's the people and the processes and what we actually deliver. We chose the right platform, which helps us. So, that's something that I always consider is you have to make sure you understand how your business operates very well before you just simply say, hey, let's go with this technology that's going to save our company or something like that.
The reason why I pinpointed that is because it's refreshing. A lot of software companies do focus, they lead with the technology. And I think they kind of forget that it is part of the processes and the people as well as the technology that really makes the whole thing successful. So I love that point that you just brought out. And, if a company wanted to start tomorrow, if they called you guys up tomorrow and said, hey, let's go ahead, let's get started, let's integrate this thing. What are some signs that they're ready to get started with a process like this?
That's a great question, and a lot of times, I would say the degree of readiness, it varies significantly. So, and we'll work through that with companies that approach us. But in terms of what allows them to be ready, think about it this way. If you were going to sell through a brick and mortar store, we're allowing business to sell online. If you wanted to sell through brick and mortar store, it's easy for somebody to see a building and say, hey, cool, that building's available. Let's get in there. But is everything else in line? Do they know, is their product management, product inventory, all that, do they know exactly what they're selling, their approach, their strategy, how are they going to manage orders, things like that? What systems do they want to integrate to? So, who are their partners in the ecosystem? Who are their partners for payment processing? All these things. So a lot of it is just readiness in terms of all these details lined up. Now, a lot of these companies that we work with are established companies. They're not startups. And so for them specifically, a lot of times it is, do they know their business rules, and do they have the specific assets that they need to sell online? So what I'm getting at when I say assets, obviously online, it's a little different than selling in a store. In a store, you have your products, you have some marketing collateral in the building. Online, you need all of your images and things like that. So we need a lot of data, all your products, your pricing, all this stuff, your images, but then it goes a lot further than that. So we need all the complexities around what are your shipping intricacies and taxes and all that stuff. So basically, in what format do they have the data? And sometimes companies come to us and they have everything ready to go. They have people lined up to work with us. Sometimes they come and they say, hey, we want to do this. We just help us out, and
right.
in that case, it just is a longer runway to get to that first sale.
Okay. How long does it typically take?
Well, if a company's ready, we can have a first sale in 4 to 6 weeks, which is pretty amazing in the enterprise level. Again, we're not talking about necessarily like a small mom and pop shop that's not really our bread and butter in terms of customers. So we're talking about some customers that have hundreds of thousands of orders a year sometimes. And so depending on what their needs are, if they're ready to go, we can get them up and running 4 to 6 weeks. But sometimes, like I said, if they have a lot of complex rules that we need to build in to the our application, it can obviously take longer. So it kind of depends on that.
Okay. I hear a lot of a buzzword all the time, agility. And I know you guys, when I was doing my research about Cloudcraze, that's one of the things that you really champion is companies being able to be more agile in their processes. Can you tell me what that looks like? What a successful company who is considered to be agile, what that organization would look like?
Yeah, sure. So, I mentioned Salesforce a few times. They're a key to our success. We're a platinum partner of Salesforce's. We work with them very closely, and our application is built on that platform. So that gives us agility right out of the box. So for anybody that's not aware of who exactly Salesforce is, it's a cloud computing, I mentioned before, CRM, but really they're a lot more than a CRM today. But when we talk about cloud computing, these days there's so many applications that are technically in the cloud. So really anything that you just log into in your browser, you're using cloud computing because something's hosted somewhere for you. Mm-hmm. Salesforce is really the king of that. I mean, they have the multi-tenancy thing down. So they have millions of end users logging into their system on a regular basis, and they handle all of that. So for e-commerce, which is what we do, so you think about kind of a traditional solution, somebody who hosts everything themselves. So they manage all their servers and all that stuff. So they have the hardware to handle.
Right.
We don't, and we let Salesforce take care of that part. So what that does, there's a couple ways that provides agility. Number one, you're scalable almost infinitely. So you don't ever have to worry with us about, well, okay, if we grow tenfold over the next few years, is that a problem? Well, a lot of organizations will say, oh, sure, we can handle that, and your costs are going to increase accordingly as we need to support you, and we need to build out, we need to add more servers and things like that. You don't need that when you're using Salesforce. But then the other piece of the agility is that platform, and the way we've developed our product is being able to configure things easily. So we mentioned before about my book, and it's a lot about automating processes. Our solution is set up so that the administrators can control a lot of it. So, just like with anything, sure, you can extend it with code, but we have a whole administration tab that allows administrators to go in and control things and modify what they need to. So they can take this storefront for a company like Coca-Cola, who's one of our customers, and they can, modify what they need without spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is common with these large corporations, to make some significant change. They can go in and control things themselves. And then with that Salesforce platform, again, let's say they want to tie in something with customer support into the solution. So a lot of our customers, it's not just pure e-commerce, go in and buy and leave. You want to go in and a lot of times it's B2B. So let's say it's a distributor that goes in and they're using the system to reorder, and they go and order, cases of soda or something like that. Well, they want to go in and manage their orders, manage their inventory, reorder, and maybe they want to submit a case with the parent company and say, hey, I'm having an issue. Can you help me with that? Those are all things that we can control a lot of times without any code. So obviously that brings a lot of agility, just being able to quickly build out your application without saying, yeah, we need to spend 3 months and write 5,000 lines of code to support that.
Absolutely. And what about the front end automation? Do you guys do anything like the pay-per-clicks, or I know content is pretty much your expertise as well, building the content in the community around the technology. What about the front end stuff? Do you guys get into that?
Yeah. So right now we're a big focus for 2016 is the front end and building out really content management solution. But what I'll talk about right now is something we've done. Salesforce has called it the buy button for Community Cloud. So one of my areas of expertise is around the Community Cloud, and that's a Salesforce term. So you guys may have heard term portals, communities, things like that. Community it's a little bit confusing because there's the Salesforce terminology, and they call this a community. Then there's kind of the general term, which is, you can say community portal, something like that. But ultimately, Salesforce has technology to allow interaction with employees or customers or partners. So our solution ties into that seamlessly. So essentially, any storefront that we build has this community as part of it. And through that, we can interact with customers. So one of the things we've done is, I mentioned this buy button for Community Cloud. We are able to not only provide this way to sell, but a community that we can build really the front end by drag and drop. So this is something that's really new for Salesforce. It just came out a few weeks ago, and we were actually already developing before it was released. But in a nutshell, what it is, like I said, it's a way to interact with partners, employees, customers, and we can actually control it through literally dragging and dropping in these components. So you can say in a few hours, you could literally throw together a quick community, take Cloudcraze e-commerce components and drop them in. So you could say, well, we want customers to be able to ask questions or answer other customers' questions. We want to provide a knowledge base. We would like customers to see some products that we sell, and we'd like them to be able to purchase those all in the same place. So with what we're working on right now, they're called Lightning components. If some of you, if you know Salesforce, you may have heard of Salesforce Lightning. You can go in to this technology called Community Builder, literally click on a component. So you could say, I want to add a shopping cart to my page, drag it over, publish that to your community, and immediately you can add this element to it. So there's some really cool stuff there.
I love that.
Yeah, so it makes it very easy to control the front end without, again, hey, recode it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, I love that functionality. I am not on Salesforce. I really don't have a need for it. My business, plus I'm not a multi-million-dollar corporation that you guys work with. But what I do is I develop websites and WordPress.
Sure.
And so to me, that kind of in my mind is the difference between using like a Drupal or a WordPress website or
Sure.
Wix. And there are a lot of themes out there that you can use for WordPress. One is called Divi. It's just a drag and drop theme. And it's
Okay.
just made my life so much easier. And my websites, the quality and the functionality. So now I can give a client their site and they can handle the upgrades in the back end without having to learn code in a new language or hire a
Sure.
team of web developers. So I think that's even providing technology like that. It's great service too. It's a great value, but also it's a great service to your clients because you're making things easier for them and they don't have to, have a huge investment in keeping up the software.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So, I love the fact that you got into cloud technology. Can you sort of go into one, what does the future of cloud technology look like? Where do you see the trends? Where do you see things headed? And also for Cloudcraze, what's on the horizon? I know you talked about this current, the things you're working on right now, your current technology, but as a company, as a whole, where do you see Cloudcraze going? Where does cloud technology go into?
Yeah, sure. So, with again, I'm going to go back to Salesforce and going to talk about what they've done since they're really the champion of cloud computing, cloud technology. But they, up until I think this year, I think they were ranked number 2 behind Tesla. But 4 years in a row, up through 2014, they were ranked most innovative company in the world by Forbes. So that's I think that says a lot about how they approach cloud computing. They've come up with the basic model, the underlying technology. They were able to host all of these customers and all these end users every day with very high availability. It's almost really a non-issue to worry about. If I'm on Salesforce, am I going to have to worry about them going down? Sure, that there's little hiccups here and there, but that part they've really got down, and they're always growing that base to allow for more customers. But it's a lot about really that part of it's there. So at this point, they're just being innovative, coming up with new solutions, figuring out how to make things a lot easier, and that's I would say the direction they're going in. So originally we're talking about this application that you manage your accounts, contacts, maybe a sales organization could use it. And now Salesforce is a development platform itself. And what I'm getting at it there is, we have thousands and thousands of developers that build their own applications on Salesforce. So you have, I think I just read something that said by either now or by 2018, IDC said that the Salesforce ecosystem will be create 1 million jobs, generate $272 billion in GDP impact.
That's incredible.
Worldwide.
That's incredible.
So it's not just, here's what they offer. They have some great features, things like that. But it goes beyond that to say, well, they've created a platform that allows all of these different partners, small and large, to come in and build solutions either on Salesforce or that integrate with Salesforce. So you have, there's something called the App Exchange. If you Google that, you can take a look at all of these different apps that have been built by partners. It's pretty amazing. There's really any business app you can think of, there's one for Salesforce. It's pretty neat. So they've opened it up and really allowed this the world to come in and add to it. So that's a pretty neat thing that's happening there.
Very exciting. So what advice can you give a huge company who doesn't have any kind of processes? And they're out there, right? There are companies, organizations out there who haven't even started their automating a lot of the processes that they need to. What would you say would be the first right step to head toward that direction?
Well, like I said, first it's important in the culture to put a priority on that, putting in efficiencies into your business and just making that clear that you are looking to be around for the long term. You're looking to operationalize your business in a way that will give you this kind of runway for down the road. So to do that, I mean, you need to have the right people. Obviously, business analysts are very instrumental for that, to bring them in and say, hey, you know, we need to really say, where are we today, and understand your processes and how your business operates, and then look at where you're going. So, you know, if you don't know what's happening in your company right now, it's going to be very hard to get from, you know, where you're at today to where you want to go tomorrow. So that's really the first step, is understanding how your business works today, whether that's, you know, documenting it, creating diagrams, things like that, but to understand where you're at now, and then also look at, you know, where are we going, where do we want to go, bringing the right people to get that information out of your employees to understand, you know, how things work, and then how you're going to get from where you're at today to tomorrow. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Phil, how can people get in touch with you and Cloudcraze if they want to get started?
You know, I'm pretty available online. I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn, all those good social media networks. And so, you know, anytime anybody can reach out to me, we're at cloudcraze.com. And like I said, you know, our sweet spot is fairly large organizations in the B2B market. But, you know, if anybody has any questions around just automation in general, or the Salesforce platform, you know, I'd be happy to talk to them. You know, we talked a little bit about my book before, and so there's some interesting lessons learned from that, and you know, I'd be happy to share any of those with anybody here as well.
And I want to go ahead and let you guys know that Phil's book is at Amazon. Phil is the author of PracticalSalesforce.com, Development Without Code. It doesn't get any better than that. And also on Amazon, I checked it out this morning, and there's more information about his background. Very impressive. All the rich experience he has to bring to this conversation. I'm so thankful that you set aside some time and trudged through all the technical difficulties, and really shared your insight. It's invaluable. I really appreciate it, Phil. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the time, and yeah, no problem about any of that. It's good to use Blab. Never used it before, so.
My fourth time, so don't judge me.
Great.
So thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.